Hey, what's up, everyone? You are watching or listening to the My Comic Book Journey podcast. I'm your host, Kennedy. And today's topic will be back then when DC was known as National Comics. This one is titled Binky's Buddies. And this was released, this is issue number 10 for August 1970. The artwork, everything was by Henry Scarpelli. And let's go ahead and talk about it. You can see just by looking at it, the first thing people think, wait, is this like an Archie comic book? And it looks like an Archie comic book. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So the late Henry Scarpelli is an artist who is best known for his work in Archie Comics. A winner of the Shazam Award for Best Inker, Humor Division, Henry Scarpelli is also known for his earlier DC Comics works in the 70s with Date with Debbie and the Leave It to Binky series. The Leave It to Binky series began in 1948 and ran for 60 issues through 1958. In 1968, DC Comics brought back the series a decade later in 1968 with issue number 61. And with issue number 72, which was released back in May 1970, the series went through a name change to Binky, and then ran through number 81 in 1971, and I guess you could say the 82nd issue in 1977. Between 1969 to 1970, a spin-off series titled Binky's Buddies was released, a series that revolves around the main character Binky and his guy friends. Also included is a one-page storyline featuring Scarpelli's Cross-Eyed Pussycat, a strip about a cat that predates Jim Davis's feline comic strip, Garfield. So let's go ahead and show you a little bit of Binky's Buddies here. Here we go. Maybe not. Let's see here. Okay, let's do this. There we go. You can see a little bit of that 70s style right there, with the guy wearing a flower green pants, flower yellow pattern with an orange sweater, turtleneck. So it's just really interesting. You can see definitely the Archie comic style right there. Let's go back to the cover here. So in issue number 10, Buzzy is always getting distracted when a girl passes by. So Binky bets that Buzzy can't go on a day without flirting or ogling a girl. So a bet for $10 is on, and Binky and his friends start spying on Buzzy to see if he can go without a day of flirting. In the second story, Benny gets a job as a taxi driver, and Binky and his friends try to pull a prank on him by having him go to a deserted house. But unknown to everyone, the home is being used as a thief hideout. In the third story, Sherwood spots Binky and Peggy out together and offers them a ride as he and Kiki are on a date to the countryside. But in truth, Sherwood's motivation is trying to find a way to split Binky and Peggy so he can go out with Peggy. He wants her all to himself. And Cross-Eyed Pussycat observes Baby Glenn, and another story features Pussycat's owner trying to teach him to become a hunter, and a story of Pussycat being too curious for his own good. Overall, Binky's Buddies is a fun comic book series for those who grew up reading Archie, but also wanted to see how lingo, pop culture, and fashion trends of the early 1970 were at the time, and Binky's Buddies featured a lot of that. So in a way, you can definitely see the style that was popular with Archie Comics. You had Archie, and then you had Betty and Veronica, and then here you can see another blonde and a brunette right there. But it's just really interesting that because the style for Archie still continues, continue for a very long time. It had that distinct style that Scarpelli was known for. But it's just interesting to see how that transcended to DC National Comics with Binky's Buddies. But going back to what I was talking about earlier, it was the comic book run was very interesting because, again, it ran through 60 issues from 1948 to 1958. 10 years later, it came back with issue 61 through issue 72. And then in 1971, they just released one issue. They went to 72 through 81. And then 1977, just one more last issue. And that's 6 years later with number 82. So they did try. DC did really try to bring this one back. I know that they probably saw the popularity of Archie Comics. Archie Comics was one of those titles that people read. It was because when you were at a supermarket getting your, paying for your groceries, just waiting waiting with the cashier, there was always one comic book digest that you would always see at grocery stores, and that was Archie Comics. You would see newsstand comic books, all those bent comics that you would see in the comic book holders at the time, those little rotating comic book holders. But Archie weren't sold necessarily as newsstand compared to they were usually well placed and sold as little digests that you would get at the supermarket. I thought that was just really fascinating. Also, what was fascinating is to see how many stories they were able to pump out and how many decades worth of it. So I think, if anything, Archie Comics was really interesting. Binky's Buddies is just a extension of that with Scarpelli's artwork. But yeah, looks like Archie and similar in style, but really different characters. But you just had that same artist, Henry Scarpelli, working on it. Okay, everyone, you take care, and I will see you later. Wink, wink, and see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.